Okay, so I wanted to put out a video, a little audio on some of the course expectations and a little bit of an breakdown on how this course is going to operate compared to what you've seen in the previous three courses. All of you have taken CBY 610, 615, and 630 at this point, and those were great courses as it related to communicating some basic understanding and basic knowledge of the field of cybersecurity. This course is kind of rounded the corner, and now we're going to be looking at some application of some of the information that we've put out. CBY 640 is about information assurance, management, analytics, and I'm particularly focusing on the concept of risk management and some of the outputs that we would expect as a result of a rigorous risk management program within an organization. And because of that, I kind of needed to change some of the things, some of the types of assignments that we've been doing, modify them a little bit. And I think that you're going to find that the course is a little bit more challenging than the previous three. I think that you're going to find that the discussion modules are significantly different. All of them will be based on a case study. And I chose two case studies from Information Systems Audit and Control Organization that we will look at. And I think that hopefully, if the course is designed the way that I want, it's going to cause you and your classmates and myself to have a more robust dialogue in both the discussion modules and as it relates to some of the other assignments like the hot topics or the special topics that I want you to do, and the information assurance management plan that is a significant portion of your assignment. Now I've changed some things and I've included some additional things. I want to focus on more application of the information, so I'm going to be looking for more oral presentations in the form of the special topics, and part of the IA plan is a large presentation that you have all semester to work on. I've meted it out over the last 4 weeks of the course to kind of keep you on track or help you keep on track, but I also want to do some peer review. I think it's important at this point in the program that everyone starts seeing other people's work and providing your expertise to help them improve their performance. So that's part of what we're going to kind of experiment with this class, and I think it's going to be an important part of the program going forward, as far as providing some professional peer review type of feedback. So let's look at a couple of different things. I want to look at, in particular, the discussion forums that you'll see two different types of discussions going on. The first one is based upon McClintock Manufacturing, and I provided to you in the overview a PowerPoint presentation on McClintock Caselet for you to look at, and then after you review the PowerPoint, I want you to think about some of the structural issues that need to be addressed as it relates to cybersecurity. Remember, we're taking a very holistic approach to cybersecurity, so we need to understand both the organization and the business that McClintock is involved in before we can start making meaningful changes to the cybersecurity program within that particular organization. I expect that the first discussion module will be difficult for you to grasp. I think that you will be kind of floundering around a little bit, and that's okay. But I want you to apply what you've learned, think about what it's going to take to make meaningful change within an organization, and then post that into the discussion forum. Remember, this is a classroom discussion. We expect that our viewpoints will be diverse. I think that we should expect them to be kind of all over the place, and then as we move through, we kind of hone it in and we get more focused and we start thinking about these things in a new light. So that's kind of the way the discussion modules are going to go. So they're going to do McClintock for 4 weeks, and then we're going to move into another caselet for the remaining 4 weeks. And I think that what you're going to see is this is going to give you the opportunity to really start kind of finding your way in the field of information security and the application of those. The other assignment that you're going to have to work on for the first 4 modules is a special topics presentation. And I think that for us, it's important for us to practice doing presentations, putting together meaningful professional presentations, and presenting information to both myself and the group, because this is one of the roles of a manager, is to be able to walk into a particular environment and present some information in a meaningful way to convey your message and maybe even convince people that something needs to be done. So I put in these special topic presentations. They need to be no more than 5 content slides, the maximum, so that we would see 5 content slides, perhaps a title slide, and then a resource slide or a reference slide at the end. So the total should be 7 slides, and I want you to choose any topic as it relates to the risk management field, or some of the outputs. You could talk about a particular type of policy. You could talk about access control. You could talk about authentication methodology. You could talk about threat analysis or vulnerability enumeration, or a different type of risk assessment process. Anything that you think would be of interest, bring it forward. Do your research on it using good references. Stay away from those product magazines. I don't want to hear about new products that are coming out. I want you to talk about things that are important. You could talk about risk assessment as it relates to HIPAA or the banking industry or avionics or healthcare or the insurance industry. I want you to bring some content into the course, into the program that is of interest to everybody, or that will be of interest to everybody. I want you to do it in a clear, in a concise, in a professional manner. So you're going to do a few of those. The first 4 modules, I believe, have special topic presentations that you will complete, and then we're going to move into the bigger component of the course, or the course assignments, is the presentation of an information assurance management plan. And your textbook, in the preface on pages Roman numeral 18 and 19 talk about the different layers of the. I'll give you an overview in the chapters as it relates to the different layers of the information assurance plan. And I just added today a new module in here to kind of break out the information assurance management plan a little bit. So you should check that out and look at it. I just basically put an overview page in here. Over the last 3 weeks of this course, you're going to compose and complete an information assurance plan on a business environment of your choice. Now, I have added in here, in case you are concerned that you're not going to be able to come up with a particular business environment or that's going to give you enough information. I put in here, and I'll show it to you in a minute, a PDF of Brightington Academy, which is a case study from a textbook that I've used for a long time, that I think would give you all the information that you need in order to complete a meaningful information assurance management plan. Some of you may have seen this before in an undergraduate area. The case study is, I think, robust enough to provide you all the information you need, and I think it also is well written. So I'll show you that in a minute, but I wanted to let you know that I've added that in there, and I sent you an email on that earlier today. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to provide, you're going to ask to choose an appropriate business environment, explore in depth the current information assurance posture of that organization, and then propose some policies for that organization. And additionally, you have to provide some strategies to disseminate and enforce these policies and to implement your information assurance plan. And the textbook is going to do us a great job on giving us, some good background on how to do that. Your presentation should fully describe how the 10 layers of the management plan are going to be fulfilled. And your audience for that presentation, it should be geared for senior management of the particular organization. As always, the presentation requires a good deal of research. Keep in mind that these are meant to be a professional presentation, intended to be a multimedia presentation and not a written paper. I would suggest using PowerPoint. I have no problem with that based on what everyone has delivered so far. I think it turned out very well. Presentations will be evaluated on content delivery and the response from others that will have the opportunity to hear that. And in particularly, I'm talking about the peer review process that we're going to go through. Be prepared for questions that you will follow up on, and we'll get through that, and I'll talk a little bit about that as we move through the process. So it's going to be worth a maximum of 45 points. This is not a team project, but I put in there also a discussion forum because I want you to collaborate with each other. You should start talking to your peers and professionals within the organization, within your organization or within your world, to get a good idea of how things are working and how perhaps you might be able to proceed a little bit better. Require a good deal of research and preparation, so you need to plan accordingly. You should probably start working on it sooner or later. You should be looking at least a 30 to 35 slide presentation with audio overlay. Now, this is going to be a heavy file, so we may have some issues getting it into PowerPoint, but we'll work through that. Or getting it into Canvas, but we'll work through that. We may just do a YouTube capture or something like that, but don't worry about that. That's on my end. You need to try to engage your audience and keep in mind that they're meant to be a formal and professional presentation. You must include citations where appropriate, using APA standards, and keep your information relevant. I had mentioned earlier that I put in a case study that you might want to consider using. It's just a PDF in here on a private school called Brightington Academy. It's here for your review. If you want to use this, you're more than happy to use it. I have no problem with it. I think it'll work out well for you. If you have a case study or want to do a case study on another organization, I would just make sure that you're going to be able to address all of the levels of all the components of the IA plan before you get into it too far and then maybe realize that you can't. So that's available. And then I also put in here a discussion module. It's an ungraded discussion forum. Use it to discuss the assignment, to ask questions, to look for feedback, to collaborate. You need to start discussing this amongst ourselves to make sure that we're all on the same sheet of music. All right, so there's really, three things that have significantly changed here. First, the discussion modules are very different than what we've experienced so far. They're based on actual case studies. Second, you're going to be doing those special presentations, special topic presentations, and you can choose anything that you want as long as it's relative, right? You want to make sure that you have a good understanding of it, make sure that you are clear and concise in your presentation, and you're doing your research. And then the IA management plan, very different from what we have done in the past. You'll notice that there's no big writing assignments. This is going to be a time-consuming, in-depth process that's going to take you the majority of the semester to complete. As I had indicated, that part of the IA management plan grading process is going to be to answer questions about your particular plan. And if you scroll or go back to the modules and you look at the last module, week 8, where you're going to present your IA management plan, obviously you're going to upload your presentation by June 25th. Note the date, June 25th. And that will be loaded into the completed plan will be loaded into the Dropbox, and then from the 25th until the 28th, and of course you can put it in there earlier if you want. From the 25th to the 28th is where we will be asking comments and or making comments and asking questions about your individual IA plan, and it'll be your responsibility to respond to those and answer the questions, and that's part of that's part of your grade as well. So a little bit different than what you've experienced, a little bit different than perhaps you've seen in other classes, but I think that this is going to give you really an opportunity to really shine here and bring forward some really good information and a really good plan that's relevant. That it is something that you would potentially be doing in a job, which is really what we should be looking at doing here for you. So. Of course, if you have any questions, you can email me, or we can get into a discussion forum and talk about it. But I think that you're going to find that the course is going to be very interesting, very relevant, and a little bit more rigorous than what we've seen in the past. Thanks.